What's up, everyone? Reckless Fox here, and welcome to episode 71. Yeah, 71. Episode 71 of the ScrubClub Gaming Podcast, where we are the folks and jokes that tell you everything going on right now in the gaming industry, for the most part, and you know things about the movie industry, some comic books, geek culture just in general. And rock with me tonight, just a two-man power trip tonight. We got Bouken, Kabuto, take it away.
Hey y'all, how you doing? Be healthier than I am. Gotta be stronger. Gotta be faster. Sonic X.
Oh my god. Fucking Sonic. And my opening comment is, speaking of Sonic, I just watched the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer, and oh my god, that... Look, let me just put it like this. If y'all have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, yeah, I did my reaction, and I'm gonna say this, Bouken, if you, I'm gonna need an extra bottle of Johnny Walker to go see that movie, because, yeah, I need to be in the right state of mind to go see that movie. But
I still have half a bottle of Johnny White Walker.
I'm gonna need that Johnny White Walker for next month when I go see Dark Phoenix. So keep that, just hold that for me. But on the serious note, I want to say, rest in peace to John Singleton. For those of you who don't know who John Singleton is, he's one of the he's honestly one of the best black directors of our time. He made Boys in the Hood, and he made so many other movies that I can't really go past. I mean, Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice. Say what you want about this movie with Baby Boy and how they play it all the time on BET, but that movie's actually a good movie as long as you don't play it over and over again. That's a different story. He also did Higher Learning. He did the 2000 version of Shaft with Sam Jackson, and he did quite possibly my favorite Mark Wahlberg movie of all time. It's my number one. It's Four Brothers. And he did some other ones like Illegal Tender, Black Snake Moan, Rosewood, Abduction, stuff like that. Okay, Abduction's not that good, but you know what I mean.
And now a certain white guy that also needs his rest in peace, Peter Mayhew, the suit actor for Chewbacca.
Yeah, he died what, yesterday, right?
Yeah, he died yesterday, age 78, I think it was.
Yeah. So real quick, I just want to give a quick moment of silence to both John Singleton and Chewbacca. What's the actor's name again? I just want to make sure.
Peter Mayhew.
Peter Mayhew. So I want to give a quick moment of silence to Peter Mayhew and John Singleton. So. Okay, thank you. Cece will be coming in later on, and maybe we'll have a small cameo from Cece, because I did get her insight on Avengers Endgame, and she cried just as much as I did. And we will be doing our final retrospective review of the MCU next week with myself, Bouken, Kabuto, and hopefully Cece. So if you have not yet, be sure to listen to the MCU retrospective review part 1 and part 2, which will review both phase 1 and phase 2 of the MCU leading into Endgame. And the Endgame review should be up by the time this podcast is going up as well. But with all that being said, we gotta do some housekeeping, because we got a few things to talk about. It's not gonna be a long podcast, but we're gonna be hitting some ticks tonight. But for those of you who don't know, we do our podcast every weekend on Twitch. Unfortunately, we didn't do it last week because it was just a very busy week all last weekend. You know, Endgame came out, the Game of Thrones finale happened, not Game of Thrones finale, the Game of Thrones episode happened, people were out of town, some people's birthdays, happy belated birthday, my boy Bouken Kabuto, just, everything was just so busy last weekend, so, and then Bouken Kabuto got sick, oh god, anyways,
yeah.
But yeah, so we do all our stuff live on Twitch. So if you haven't yet, be sure to follow me here on twitch.tv/RecklessFox, where you can listen to new episodes of the ScrubClub podcast live, as well as ScrubClub Presents and 12 Vision and movies and live Let's Plays. And chat, as always, we love you. Be sure to let us know. Comment on what you think about certain things we're going to be talking about. Because we're going to be talking about, the majority of this episode is going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 11 and the stuff that's going on with Steam and Epic Games. And we might address Etika. I honestly don't know because Xforce has a lot more knowledge about Etika than I do, and I wish I can probably I wish we can get a cameo from my boy Just Jay Solomon, but I'm pretty sure he's doing his podcast right now as we speak. But like I said,
And let's not forget Dildozer.
yeah, but no, Dildozer is out. Dildozer is with his girl right now, so I'm waiting for him. He wants to be a guest on the show, so I'm trying to make sure. Maybe we could do it maybe next weekend before me and him have to go to a potluck, but that's a different story. But yeah. So with all that being said, the chat, we love you. Just let's talk. Close mouths don't get fed. People on SoundCloud, don't worry, this will be up right after. So if you were wondering, you know what, I really want to be part of the live podcast, but I can't. You know, I got to go do a late night shift. I got graveyard shift. My mama tripping. My baby mama tripping. My wifey's tripping. The kids are still up at 11.
My sister-in-law tripping.
My sister-in-law's tripping. My lover's tripping. My partner's tripping. The dog's tripping. Everyone's tripping in the house. Don't worry, we got you covered. We're still be on SoundCloud. Just make sure to follow us on SoundCloud.com/ScrubClub for all your newest episodes and stuff like that. But anyways. And also, we always say this. People, we want you to let your voices be heard, you know, because we live in America, okay, and our voices need to be heard on certain things. Now, don't be a dickhead when you do it, but still. But I understand, you know, you're like, reckless Bouken, I don't want y'all to roast me, please don't do it, but come on now, that hurts my feelings, because I've always said this, well, not always, but we've always tried to make it that there's no such thing as a stupid question unless you ask it or you respond with a really dumb answer. So, you know, don't be shy. Talk to us. But until that fateful day, you can then now forever email us at ScrubClubGameBookies@gmail.com. That's ScrubClubGameBookies@gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns, advice, and opinions required. Love doing business with you indie folks out there. You got a video game or a movie out there that you want us to watch or play, let us know. Let your boys know. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at ScrubClub Gaming. Just type in ScrubClub Gaming. Bam! ScrubClub Gaming is all in your home. Next month, we will be making our Instagram account, so please be on the lookout for that. And yeah, spread the good news to ScrubClub Gaming Podcast. And you can find us on our home base, SoundCloud.com/ScrubClub Gaming. That's SoundCloud.com/ScrubClub Gaming, where all previous episodes of ScrubClub Gaming Podcast, Scrub Lounge, ScrubClub Presents, and ScrubClub Retrospective Reviews are now officially up. And as well as you can follow us on our YouTube page, ScrubClub Gaming, where we will be posting new episodes of the ScrubClub Gaming Podcast, video versions of them, and we will be posting interviews that myself and GC will be conducting this next month at E3. Now, you want to get a hold of us, you want some private critique time, you know, find your boy Reckless Fox, Twitter, Instagram, @Reckless_Fox, find me on my YouTube page, Reckless_Fox, you find all my latest game content on Twitch.tv/Reckless_Fox. If I'm not holding down the Southtown region, flexing, Keith Howard style, you can then go over to Angel Grove, California, with my boy Bouken Kabuto. Where can they find you?
You could find me at you could find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bouken Kabuto, and you can find me on Instagram at chrono_justice_cosplay. I temporarily reactivated my Facebook, just, you know, because like I needed to pull a couple of pictures, but I'm not using it, and I'll probably deactivate it soon. But you know, I figured I might as well mention that. You better not be stalking me on there. I swear to God, I will kill you. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So on to our show for tonight.
All right. Well, before we do that, we always have to do this. We always have to ask how our days are. So, how has your week been, Bouken? It's been a couple of weeks since the last episode, so go ahead.
Well, let's see how my week has been. Lying in bed for most of it. I had to go to a movie theater twice on Tuesday to see Captain Marvel one time because there's only 2 screenings throughout the entire day. Yeah, and you know, like to watch Endgame, I had pretty much to catch up. And for the first time, like the usher was a total idiot, and he made me go to the screening of Little. So I watched 30 minutes of commercials just to find out I was in the wrong theater. And because it's 30 minutes into Captain Marvel, they couldn't refund my ticket. Other than that, I was pretty much in bed all week.
Well, that sucks. So, what did you get sick with? Did you have like the flu? Did you have a fever?
Pretty much the flu. What I really hate is that one of my coworkers on Monday made a really tasteless joke saying I might have the measles.
Oh. I shouldn't laugh at that, but wow, that is awful.
It is. Yeah, you don't joke about this.
I mean, to be fair, I would, because people don't vaccinate the damn kids and they need their ass whooped, but that's just me.
That's Darwinism at work, to be fair. I feel bad for the kids, but karma. You know, kind of like the 10th plague.
Yeah.
But that aside, it's like if you have been vaccinated, but you still get sick from it because, like, if it's not because the vaccines are 97% effective, which means there is a 3% of failure, and if you happen to fall in that 3%, you're effed.
White people, start vaccinating your kids, please.
People in general start vaccinating your kids.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. I don't want to make this a race thing, but you see, we will vaccinate our kids. A lot of people, we vaccinate our kids because we ain't got time for that. But it's whatever's. And I get paid this Tuesday, so I'm happy about that. I gotta pay off a couple of things, and then I am roughly 2 weeks away from graduating from college. So yeah,
congrats.
It's kind of hitting me already. So
I gotta deal with them C-Best, C-Set, M-Set. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got from this week. So, with all that being said, let's get into the gaming news because we don't have quick news tonight. So, one piece of gaming news I forgot to put on our notes. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer dropped a couple of days ago. Did you get a chance to see it, Bouken? And if so,
yes. I not only watched it, but I also watched your reaction to it as well. Hilarious, by the way.
Thank you.
Because much like that Resident Evil scene, gotta watch 3 different versions of the same thing. Like, honestly, I don't know what to. I will say this. Props for like the whole constructive feedback between the makers of the film and social media because I don't know if you've noticed, but there was a huge fan backlash because of the way Sonic looks in the trailer, and so the crew of the makers of the film wrote back. It's like we heard you guys loud and clear. We're going to change the way Sonic looks to be more game accurate. And so that's awesome. Jim Carrey as Eggman. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. It's like I feel like if he was bald, I don't remember if I saw him being bald in the trailer, but I feel like he might be able to pull it off, but I'm in the gray about it because that first scene where he's doing that whole chain of command thing, it just wasn't funny for Eggman. It would have been funny for his character from I, Me, and Irene, but not as Eggman, though. I would like him, however, to do a bit of Eggman voice, kind of like how he did the voice of what's his name, Ebenezer Scrooge in Disney's Christmas Carol. As for freaking Cyclops from
X-Men, I knew someone was gonna bring that up. Continue.
Let's see. Does the movie Hop ring a bell?
Yes.
Yeah. The Smurfs. Honestly, like when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, "Oh my god, this actually looks worse than Woody the Woodpecker." And the thing about Woody the Woodpecker is the only country it came out in theaters was in Brazil.
Funny thing is, I know about the live action Woody the Woodpecker movie. I still have not seen it.
But don't. It's terrible. But yeah, Sonic, the quality of humor and CG, it reminds me of Woody the Woodpecker, but slightly worse because at least in Woody the Woodpecker, Woody actually looks like Woody the Woodpecker and not some creepy CGI furry.
I'm gonna stop you right there because I actually want to throw my 2 cents in. So,
yeah,
I'm not gonna. I don't want to repeat what I said in my reaction video, but because if you haven't yet, be sure to check it out on my YouTube. I appreciate the fact that the director of the movie is already saying that they're gonna change up the way Sonic looks and stuff because let's just keep it 100. There were people. Kotaku and Polygon actually covered this, where there were people online that were actually taking this a still shot of Sonic and completely remodel it to make him look as close to the video game version as possible, like the late 90s ones, the Dreamcast era Sonic. They were trying to make him look exactly like that, and they did a pretty decent job on it. And I'm gonna say it like this: even though they're about to make changes and stuff, and potentially have this movie delayed if that's the case, because the last time this happened with Paramount was Monster Trucks. Monster Trucks came out in 2015, and that it was supposed to come out in 2015, but then it came out in early 2017, and that movie bombed so hard and wasted so much money, and a good amount of people at Paramount got fired because of that. And I think the acting president or vice president or whomever stepped down as well.
Oof.
Yeah, Monster Trucks was a disaster. This could potentially be that. I don't want this movie to be a disaster. I really don't. I want this movie to try and surprise me, but that's not happening. But I will say this: even though they are going to
expect the worst, hope for the best.
Even though they're gonna make changes to it, it's still not gonna be a good movie. That you can polish a turd all you want. It's still a turd today. Yes. Jim Carrey, God bless that man. I think this could be his Raul Julia performance from Street Fighter. I think Jim Carrey is the only good thing about this movie. Other than that, there's nothing good about this movie whatsoever. You can say what you want. Oh, they're gonna change what song looks like. Again, a turd is still a turd at the end of the day.
I will say this though, if somehow this movie ends up being really good, like completely blow us out of the water, because there have been movies where we thought would suck and end up being really good, like Lego Movie, for example.
Yeah.
If somehow this movie does succeed, which mind you, I'm not expecting it to, but I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow did, because I'm never 0 or 100 about anything. If they make a sequel and that sequel somehow ends up being even better than this movie, I'm just gonna say this much. If they have Shadow the Hedgehog, I want him to be played by Keanu Reeves. Just saying.
I'd be down. I second that. We should totally do that. But yeah. So I saw that, and I'm not gonna explain more. If you've seen my reaction, cool. If you haven't yet, go on my YouTube page. It's up right now. And yeah, the movie comes out in November. I'm definitely gonna go see that. I'm just gonna need some more of that Johnny Walker from Bouken Kabuto. So I need that stat.
Johnny White Walker.
To Johnny White Walker. I'm gonna need that stat. But yeah. So let's keep going. So another piece of gaming news that happened. Our main story for right now is the battle between Epic Games and Steam. Now, everyone knows if you are living under a rock. The Epic Games Store, Epic Games just required some of the big game developers like Deep Silver, 2K, because they're about to release Borderlands 3 as a time exclusive on the Epic Games Store, and of course the entire Steam community is pissed and everything like that. This is coming from Kotaku, actually. Shui had tweeted that his company would end its controversial exclusivity agreements if Steam raised its revenue cut for developers. It's a strong statement, even if there are reasons to be skeptical of Shui's position. If Steam and this is coming from Sweeney, if Steam committed to a permanent 88% revenue share for all developers and publishers without major strings attached, Epic Games would hastily organize a retreat from exclusive while honoring our partner commitment and consider putting our own games on Steam. So pretty much it's this. They want Sweeney. This is coming from the actual voice of Sweeney. Sweeney had straight up said, stop jipping developers and publishers. Give them their 88%, and we will stop. So honestly, this is where the gauntlet's been thrown. Now, granted, I know Steam ain't gonna do a damn thing about this because Steam has enough money to flex on them. Because if you know how Steam works and operates, they ain't gonna budge. But honestly, this man, I don't want to. I'm not trying to come at this as like an Epic Games fanboy, and I'm not trying to come at this as a Steam supporter. I'm trying to come at this in a sense where I understand why Sweeney's doing it, and I understand why people are upset about it. But if I can be the one person in the middle, I would say this: Steam has become such one of the most relevant game stores and publishers and developers in this gaming market. But the problem is, people see it as the end all be all when it comes to gaming platforms and stuff like that. Now, granted, I understand people have an issue with having so many game launchers, like the Epic Games launcher, Origin,
Right.
Uplay,
Blizzard.
the Blizzard with Battle.net and stuff like that. I understand that, and I think what Epic Games is trying to do is I understand why Epic Games is doing what it's doing. And I know I've said that way too many times at this moment. But if this is their way of counteracting Steam being the end all be all, being like that only monopolizing PC gaming and stuff, then more power to Epic Games, and hopefully Steam does actually take the time and see what they could try to do, because the ball's in their court now. Epic Games has thrown down the gauntlet, and Steam needs to respond to that. Bouken, I don't know if you even care about this, but what's your thoughts on this?
Well, it's not so much that I don't care as much as like I'm not knowledgeable enough about this material. Let's see. Yeah, right. So basically, it's basically a contract negotiation where, you basically have supply, you have a demand, and you need to balance that out with how much money I get versus how many goods I give. And, and this is between two third parties. Well, like with, if by default, us, the consumer, are the second party, then, we're dealing with two third parties fighting with each other. And us, the second party, the consumers, are pretty much being held hostage at this point. Like, all we can do is wait and see how negotiations pull through. Maybe one person would raise one side of the negotiation or lower the other side. Foot in the door versus door in the face and whatnot. I'm sorry if I'm sounding vague about it.
No, go ahead.
I know it's ultimately, it's a negotiation. You got, one person, you got an asking price, you got a lower price, and then you have to find a price somewhere in the middle that you can both agree to. If the two parties consider a transaction to be a good enough idea, and until then, we're all just suffering as consumers. Trying to, having to deal with this, waiting for an answer for yes or no. And, some people will be really disappointed with a no. I will say this. I agree with you in your frustration that you have to have all these different clients just to play all these different games. And it'd be nice to have like a universal client to play all the games on. But honestly, I don't really know how to fix this issue. Especially doing a cross-client thing. And the thing is, people may when one client makes a lot of money by doing games exclusive for that client, it would cut out a lot of their revenue by making it cross-platform. It's like Netflix versus Hulu. I've said this before, actually. You got these Netflix exclusive movies and TV shows, and they're probably making a lot of money because only people on Netflix are watching them. And if people were watching it on Hulu, Netflix won't be making as much money. I mean, would the cast and crew of that TV show make more money if people could watch it on Hulu? Probably, but Netflix won't be making as much money, and that's what Netflix would not like. And I think that's a similar situation here, if I'm reading this correctly. So ultimately, the question is, who should have a priority over a profit? Should it be the game developer who would profit more from cross-client distribution, or should it be the client themselves for having exclusive distribution rights?
Well, like I said, we'll find out, and hell, hopefully we can get some maybe we can get some answers before E3, since E3 is next month. So there you have it. Now let's go into Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat has been the talk of the town all this week and last week. We're going to talk about while it was still fresh, but again, certain circumstances we couldn't do our podcast last week. So let's get into it. So Mortal Kombat 11. Let's talk about one piece of good news. Let's talk about the good news about it first. So the good news: Frost is back in Mortal Kombat 11. She is a cyborg, apparently, and in this reality, because again, you know, there's a lot of time travel involved, and there's a lot of like multi-dimensional theories and stuff like that. I won't go into all that, but it's whatever. She is now a cyborg, and it's actually pretty dope to some extent. She reminds me of the one of the fighters from Tekken 7, the pink-haired chick who has freaking saws in her arms and stuff like that. She could throw her head as a weapon and stuff like that. That chick. I can't remember her name. If GC was here, he'd probably know who she is. But GC, if you're listening to this, I'm the best Tekken fighter. I'm the best Tekken player ever. There you go. That didn't get his attention. But yeah, so that's the first race. Now let's get into what's been going on since Mortal Kombat 11 has come out. There's been a lot of controversy involving its loot box system. Yes, there's a loot box system in Mortal Kombat 11. Now, the one
yada does it.
You don't have to pay for the loot boxes and stuff. There are 3 different types of currency. There's souls, there's hearts, and there's something else I don't know of. But the one that
United States dollars.
Yeah, no, you're not buying loot boxes. They already said you're not buying them whatsoever. But there's so much that goes into it that, like, there's one of them being that another of the challenge towers are super grindy, where even though you're doing the challenges to collect more soul points or hearts or something like that, it's gonna take you an arm and a leg to get past all of it. There have been people who've already like summed up how much all the loot boxes and like tombstones from the crypt where it costs you, and it would cost roughly $6,444, which the creator of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, did go on Twitter and mouth off to everyone saying that where do the and I'm reading this verbatim, LOL, oh my god, the $6,444 story is complete BS. Where do these people get their information? The vast majority of Mortal Kombat 11 skins are not for sale. That's not how NetherRealm makes games. You have to earn them in the game. Hashtag fact check before you start reporting. Dreamcast guy did talk about it in his video, in a sense where he reviewed the game and talked about the way the crypt system works, saying that was probably the biggest problem with his game and stuff. Ed Boon even messaged him personally saying, I enjoyed your review and stuff like that, but like I want to explain that this does not work like that. Maximilian dude has talked about it because the creators of Mortal Kombat 11, the development team of Mortal Kombat 11 actually did a combat cast talking about how they were starting to fix up the way the challenge towers are, where it's not going to be super grindy and stuff like that, where the AI was going to be a lot easier and stuff like that. There's so much that goes into this, and I don't know how to cover all this because me personally, I've only played Mortal Kombat 11 once this weekend, and I was at my cousin's place. I didn't get the chance to go into the towers. I didn't get the chance to do the crypt. I didn't even get the chance to do the story. We just played each other one-on-one, and that was about it. With that being said, Bouken, I don't know if you know anything about this, but what are your thoughts about this whole fiasco of Mortal Kombat 11?
Well, let's see. Just in general, from playing Overwatch for like over a year now. Actually, no, it's almost 2 years now. Kind of tired of loot boxes, and especially with past fiascos, loot boxes from, EA, etc. I will say this: if it's true that Mortal Kombat uses loot boxes that are exclusive in-game currency that you can't microtransact with real money, That's great because like freaking if you recall with Star Wars Battlefront 2, in order to get episode 3 Obi-Wan Kenobi, you had to grind like 127 hours or something. I don't remember the exact number, but that is like way too much grinding. And if you wanted to buy enough loot boxes to actually get it, it would cost you like several $100s as well. Yeah, so honestly, like I don't know, like what are the contents of the loot boxes in terms of like the rarity of the items, like what are the different types of items. Like you probably have Mortal Kombat 11 by now, but I certainly don't have it yet.
I'm not getting it until next week.
Right, yeah. So if Boone is right about if Boone is right about it being in-game exclusively, that'd be great. But again, like he's right in terms of checking your sources before you report. But at the same time, I've been in situations where I did talk to direct sources, and the direct sources have been caught lying about things. I'm not talking about like Mortal Kombat specifically. I'm talking about like other topics in the past. So I will agree with him this much. Cite your sources so that if it's proven true, you got this source to thank for. But if you've proven wrong, well, at least this is the source that I got that was wrong. So you have to check that source out. Basically follow the money, and that is especially true when it comes to information and stuff. Like it is what it is, I suppose. Time will tell. With what information's true and what's false. Just in general, I'm just tired of loot boxes. Period.
I would say this. My whole thing is this, and I think Dreamcast guy summed it up the best when he talked about this on his video last week. Is that I don't know, because again, I have not played Mortal Kombat 11 all the way. I know for a fact from first-hand experience about with the Injustice 2 fiasco with the loot boxes and skins, because getting skins was hard in that game. It was super grindy, but you also you can also pay with them through microtransactions. And I know that's some of the stuff ain't just a lot of people did not like about Injustice 2. With this game, I know Dreamcast guy said it best. I think we're not really mad with NetherRealm Studios. I think we're more mad about Warner Brothers games. I think it's Warner Brothers. When we think about it, it's Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers. This is not the first time they've done something like this. In Mortal Kombat X, I can tell you from experience, Mortal Kombat X did this crap. And in Injustice 2, and then of course, how can we not forget what happened with Shadows of War, the Shadows of Mordor sequel, where the game was filled to the brim microtransactions, and it was like a single player game and stuff like that. Like people were upset about the whole Shadows of War situation. This one, I don't know. Like, part of me wants to say people are being mad for no reason when it comes to grinding, because like it's a fighting game. But if it's as hard as people say it is, where it's like it's taking you hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, then that's where I can understand people's frustrations with that. I don't want to spend about a day and a half trying to get all these soul points or souls or hearts to get one skin. Like that part I understand where people are.
And at the end of the day, it's not even the skin you wanted.
Yeah, it's true. But like I said, this is coming from someone where I want to say this and we're gonna move on. This is coming from someone myself that, because of the fact that I don't know much about what's going on in Mortal Kombat 11, I don't really have an opinion. However, because of the fact that I'm a consumer and I have dealt with crap like this that people are talking about, I can understand people's frustrations about Mortal Kombat 11, and honestly, people have the right to be frustrated, unless, like, from the mouth itself, where Ed Boon does say that there are certain things that he was wrong about or something like that happens, then that's fine. But honestly, again, I can't say until I get my hands on the game, so I can understand where people's frustrations are. I can watch as many YouTube videos as I want about people's issues with the microtransaction, or quote unquote, or the whole loot box thing, or the whole like grinding challenge towers and stuff like that. I can talk about that all day because of the fact that I watch the YouTube videos. But me personally, because of the fact that I have not played this game, I have no opinion about this until it actually happens to me. So
that's the best way to do it, you know?
Yeah, so,
like, don't make judgments until you experience it yourself. Like, heck, even like this is just like me with Captain Marvel. It's like I was not enthusiastic. Like, at first I was kind of enthusiastic to see the movie, then I was not enthusiastic to see the movie, but but at no point would I've ever said the movie's good or bad until this week when I finally saw the movie. Like if you recall, like if you go through every single podcast we've done so far, every single text message I sent you, DM on Instagram, any kind of archive of me saying verbally or in writing, at no point I threw a lot of shade at Brie Larson, but at no point did I ever say that Captain Marvel was a good or terrible film until this Tuesday.
You said it was a decent movie, right?
I gave it 7 out of 10.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Well, I want to hear more about when we do the retrospective.
Yeah. But the point I was making is that I agree with you that like that no one could properly say anything is good or bad unless you will finally experience it yourself. So you're in the right mindset, Fox.
Well, there you have it. So that's one. All right, and now let's get into some more. We got some E3 news actually. So for those who don't know, Sony is not going to be coming to E3 this year. The press conference wise, there will potentially be a Sony booth and stuff like that. But the company that's going to be taking over Sony's time slot, which is I think around 6 o'clock Pacific time and stuff, is Square. And my prediction right now, I wish GC was in here. Hopefully, if that's the case, we will finally get some new updates on Final Fantasy VII. Because for those who don't know,
hopefully.
Oh my God, the man can say something. Okay, so GC, Square is taking over Sony's time slot this year at the press conferences. What games do you think they might talk about? Go ahead. We're doing predictions. Go ahead.
I would say probably update on Last of Us 2, but pretty much Last of Us 2 is pretty much exclusive with Sony, so that's probably much going to be in Sony's department. But Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll say pretty much they'll pretty much give us updates and news on development and production. I wouldn't expect any any more trailers or screenshots or character revealment and in that aspect like they did the last previous years, because of the news pretty much as in the whole just back to back of the team being I would say being replaced or fired or whatever. They got to start from scratch because they pretty much want the game to be perfect. So we'll probably hear some news upon it, just to keep the fans keep the fans updated, just as in we're production right now, basically just developing the game as we speak. But as of showcasing proof of their work, where are they at so far as in progress, I really doubt that, honestly.
I'm gonna say this right now. My prediction is they're finally gonna say that they're canceling Final Fantasy. That's right.
You watch your mouth.
You know what I'm predicting that definitely, but it probably won't happen.
What?
If they finally make a remake or a sequel to the PlayStation 2 game, The Bouncers.
This nigga, Bouken, get the hell.
I would love that to happen, but that will not happen.
I know, right?
Nigga, oh my god.
But I I've only played Bouncers once, and it was so fun. Like there were issues. There were issues with it. I'll be the first to say it. But I would love it if they re-released that for either PS4 or the Switch. Ideally the Switch, because I don't have a PS4. But yeah, it would totally make sense if they did for the PS4. If they did a remake of it where they fix the errors and make a multiplayer version, make multiplayer for it, so you could play, so you and two other friends could play as all three bouncers simultaneously, instead of dealing with the crappy, like AI a support system, or if they even made a sequel for that, or take the Bayonetta route and do a sequel with a restructured original version included.
I wouldn't. Like I said, I wouldn't knock it or anything. I would love for them to take another shot at remaking the Bouncer, because it still is a fun game to me. Growing up as a kid, but I'm not really expecting it just as putting my hopes in all they're going to or whatever. But keep hope alive. So it's I wouldn't mind they doing that. It's here's a remake of the Bouncer. I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like I said, it's not something that I expect Square to announce. But if they announce it, I would be so happy if they did. But you know what else I would like someone to finally announce at E3? Actually, let me answer that with a question for Fox. Fox, what do you think will be the question I'm about to ask?
When's the Avengers game coming out?
No, but that's a good question. But no, what is the question I've been asking on this podcast, like almost every time when we talk about release dates?
I don't know. I don't remember.
When the hell is Bayonetta 3 finally gonna come out?
But
Am I right, fellas?
But Bayonetta 3 is with Platinum and Sega. They're not with Square.
Yeah, I know they're not with Square, but they're still E3 probably. Is Platinum even gonna be at E3?
They'll probably announce some news about it during the Nintendo's Treehouse event, or where the hell that's supposed to be called again. I don't remember.
Nintendo Direct.
The Nintendo Direct Treehouse, whatever. Treehouse Extravaganza. That you'll probably get your answer there. No, my thing is, look, F Final Fantasy VII. I'm so sick of that game at this point. It's either coming out or it's not. But here's the real question. Here's the game that I'm waiting for. When's that Avengers game coming out? Because Square and Eidos and Square and Eidos had announced that they were going to be working together to make a new Avengers game, and they announced this roughly 2 years ago, about a year or two ago, and we've not heard 2 years ago. They announced this 2 years ago, back in January. Where the hell is this game at? There's not been no updates at all. Not like a smidgen update. At least when we got the update about Metroid Prime 4, about them delaying it, we have not heard nothing about this Avengers game. And this was my number one game that I was hoping I would get answers for from last year's E3. And of course, Square screwed that up worse than worse than the look that Sonic has in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. But that's a different story from the time. But yeah, it just, I want to know. I'm so sick of Final Fantasy. Is it coming out? Is it coming out? Dude, if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, then we didn't need a Final Fantasy VII remake to begin with. I am looking for this Avengers game. Is it going to be an action RPG? Is it going to be a turn-based? Is it going to be in the same realm when it comes to the gameplay as Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3, the good parts of Kingdom Hearts 3? Is it going to play more like the Tomb Raider games? What's up? I need to understand what the hell's going on with this game. And Square, and time again, has not said a damn thing about this whatsoever. And of course, last year's their press conference, which is a giant turd of a press conference. I need answers, and hopefully this year at their press conference, because they're taking up Sony's press conference, the time that Sony would have for their press conference, I need to know what they're going to be talking about. I need to know if it's going to be about a Marvel game. Is it going to be about the damn Final Fantasy game? I need answers. So please, Square, get me the answers.
Oh, honestly, in my opinion, I'm curious about how E3 is going to turn out since EA and Sony has backed out.
Well, keep in mind, press conference wise, they're not going to be there, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have
even showcase as well.
They're gonna have plenty of booths and stuff like that. There'll probably be a Sony booth. There'll probably be an EA booth. Their EA Play booth that they have every year. That's always filled to the brim with people, with niggas who love them some NBA Live, or niggas who love Madden, or if they're trying out the new Battlefield 88, whatever the hell, and stuff like that. It's gonna be there. We know that for sure. That EA booth's still gonna be there. Sony, I don't know. Maybe they'll have a booth, but it won't be as big as it usually is. But who knows? Anyways, but look, when we get closer to E3, we will start doing our predictions, because I got some predictions. There's already a rumor mill about apparently there's gonna be a Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't want Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm waiting. Where is Bully 2 and where's LA Noire 2? Those are the two games I need Rockstar.
I thought they already released Bully 2.
No, they haven't. That was just Bully Scholarship Edition. That's just a rehashed version of the first Bully, but they added in some new stuff. But I want LA Noire 2, because I think LA Noire was ahead of its time. It was an amazing game. I need LA Noire 2.
Yep. Speaking of Square and remakes, and to some extent, Platinum. You know what I would have? If Square and Platinum did a collaboration, you know what game I would really like to see? I would like to have a PS4/Nintendo Switch re-release of the original Drakengard, because it's been years since I've played the original Drakengard, and people are like, "Oh, a Nier Automata," but I'm like, but what's weird is that I've talked to a lot of Nier Automata fans, and almost none of the ones I know personally have ever even heard of Drakengard or its American name, Dragoon, or what's called, I forgot the American name. I always refer to it as Drakengard because the names just sounded cooler. Dragoon. Seriously, Drakengard sounds like a better name. But yeah, the game was so much fun when I played it years ago, and oh my god, I would love if they did a re-release for that game for PS4 and the Switch. Because the current owners are, because Platinum owns Nier Automata, and the original license to the original publisher for Drakengard was Square Enix. So I think it would be great to have a collaboration where because I think they could do a really good job if they work together to do a remake that really fit the current generation of platforms. Yeah, and I just feel nostalgic, and I want to replay that. And who knows, maybe if it's successful enough, they might re-release the second and third games while they're at. Who knows?
This is not a big piece of news, but SD Projekt, the creators of Cyberpunk 2077, had rejected the Epic Games Store exclusivity. They're not going to be on the Epic Games Store, which that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, they don't want to be part of the whole shenanigans between Steam and Epic Games, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. And yeah, and last but not least, okay, so I think I actually do want to talk about this. GC, I need to know if you would like to talk about this. Do you know anything about the whole Etika situation?
I know bits and pieces, just as in, I mean, well, first and foremost, I've been watching Etika's content for pretty much a couple of years, and just off his character, he's known to do some wild stuff, and just over the top, just to, he's entertaining, but just over the top, just, for attention. And there's also moments where he basically either says something or done stuff or posts something that's basically concerning. But the whole incident where I guess he said like some stuff or whatever, where I guess a lot of people, pretty much is concerned. A lot of people, pretty much been watching his content and his streams, where I guess the whole, I don't know if it's just like, I don't know who they are, just as in law enforcement, basically just, try to break into his house to basically to get him to like, pretty much, sedate him in a way to like, get him to calm down. Cause like, it's pretty much as a risk of like, I don't know, as a suicide prevention or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, I seen the video on this. I mean, just it looks traumatizing, to every per se and everything. Just as in like, how they basically enter in and basically like, got him to got him to calm down. But overall, whatever, just I don't know if it's a rumor, basically saying like, it was the whole thing, the whole stunt was pretty much a joke just for attention, or if it was like pretty much serious. I mean, if it was a joke just for attention, then why would you do that? Do something that's so serious, where a lot of people that that sincerely like love and care for your well-being, just concerned and because we're worried about you. We want you to do anything stupid or harm yourself. If you do, and as it, like I said, when it comes to doing it as a stunt and everything, what's the point? Because your channel, at the time, before YouTube pretty much shut it down or whatever, was pretty much growing like big to pretty much almost to like what in a million. And he has pretty much like a cult following of also like like young teenagers or adolescents or whatever, who basically just watches his live streams and stuff like that. But it just he's at a level you don't have to really do those antics to a person basically just getting on for the first time, and they gotta do what they gotta do just to get noticed and get their numbers up and get their sub count up and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's just weird.
I would say this because I actually, thankfully my boy Just J Sama, shouts to Just J Sama, he talked about this about a week and a half ago when the whole thing happened. So apparently Etiquette, I don't know too much about Etiquette. I never really watched a lot of this content, but I did know.
I mean, I have like here and there, and I also met him at the Anime Expo.
Yeah, I know you did. I know Just J Sama has talked about him and stuff like that. This is coming from someone who doesn't really know too much about him as a person. Like, I know for a fact that he had a really fast growing YouTube channel, like you said, and then I think because of the whole thing of like being like a YouTube star or something like that got to him, which us being YouTubers and stuff like that, myself and GC, we can say that we kind of understand. We don't fully understand because we're not like big time YouTubers, but we can understand some of the stress that goes into content creating and stuff. And I know about him putting porn on his YouTube channel, putting porn on his Twitch channel, saying some homophobic and like just some bad slurs and stuff like that. And then his ex-girlfriend recording him because he was talking about wanting to do self-harm to him. Then his fans had reached out to him. The police reached out and stuff like that. And then this past week he went live on IG and was arrested because I think because did potentially self-harm again or something like that. And the SWAT team was called in. They took him to custody and everything like that. I will say this, and I do hope that I'm not butchering the majority of the story. I really hope not. From what I've been told from my homie Just J Sama is that Etiquette has yet to seek professional help and stuff like that. And if that's the case, I really hope he does seek professional help, because like if he does actually have a mental illness, or he has like a mental disability, there are plenty of people out there that are professionals in this field that can help him with that. And I just don't want anyone to think that he should just use this as a crutch. No one should ever use a type of illness or disability as a crutch to do something that's silly or dumb or anything like that. So, go ahead, Bouken.
Oh no, the whole point about using disabilities as a crutch, being bad, totally preach, because you and I have a certain, mental and learning disability,
Right.
and it comes with certain, social issues. And despite some kind of prowess it might have with certain specific academic subjects, but there's like other people who have that same disability, and they're like and they act like total assholes, and then they use that disability as an excuse to get away with it, and people just let them. And it kind of sickens me, because people like you and I, like, we actually work hard to overcome our obstacles and try to become better people out of it, while other people just let it take over and just get away with messed up shit. Now, again, I don't know like the exactitude of what's going on with this guy. I hope he's getting the help he needs, and that's just it. Like, everyone needs to get whatever help you need to get. And uh, it's about self-growth and becoming better as a person. It's really hard for me to talk because of my sore throat, and I'm salivating a lot.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't know if it was a publicity stunt and he used it as a troll just for attention to basically bring traction, to him, or it's something serious that he definitely needs help.
Well, I know for a fact that Review Tech USA did do a story about this. Did you watch that one, GC?
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. Like I said, if I really hope that he does get the help he needs, if that's the case. I will say, he has the people that love him, and he has the fan base that care for him and want to support him. All I will say, man, like Etika, man, he ain't gonna listen to this, but Etika, man to man, dude, I really hope you get your stuff situated. I hope you handle what you need to handle, because no one wants to. No, you seem like, I don't know this, but from what GC told me and from what my homie Just J told me, you seem like a really prominent YouTuber, like a black YouTuber and stuff like that. We need more black YouTubers who do gaming and stuff like that. But we don't. But just don't do anything. Stop doing things recklessly. Don't do a lot of reckless things. Okay, no pun intended. But and do get the help you need, handle it, and then come back. Okay, like.
Yeah, I mean, it just also goes to show and everything. Like, at the end of the day, everybody's human. They might push forth a certain persona in front of the camera, and they may appear that they're happy and they're smiling. And they also, might flex or whatever to say, the amount of material things that they have, and that this material things bring me happiness, or this amount of fan base bring me happiness, or this fame, or so forth, so forth. It clearly lets you know, like I said, I don't know if it's a publicity stunt or if it's serious. If it's a publicity stunt, it just shows, the manifestation and also the perception that, of how pretty much of how lost the generation is. And if it's something serious and everything, it just truly shows our imperfection, as, human beings. And that, deep down inside, behind closed doors and behind when the camera goes off or whatever, people are still hurting and suffering inside. And, they trying to basically, and they feel empty and trying to fill it with all these tangible things and all these temporal things that inevitably cannot be filled.
Like I said, Etika, like man to man, dude, like I really hope you need to handle what you need to, and this goes to everyone with anxiety issues, depression, and any other illness, just clinically prescribed or clinically diagnosed illness or disorder or anything like that. People, make sure, if you have the right people and and stuff like that, you have the right people that are with you. Don't be afraid to seek help. Okay, seek help as soon as possible, because if you don't, your situation could get potentially worse. And I really do hope to God that Etika does get the professional help he needs, so that way he can come back a better person. because I'm not trying to demean his character or anything like that. I don't know him personally. I've never met the man, never have, and in any situation or any event or convention I've gone to. But I really do hope he does get the professional help he needs. So there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for my show notes. Unless GC, is there anything that you want to talk about? We can get your take on Mortal Kombat 11. What's your take on it?
Pretty much nothing new that any other company that's basically focused on profit, and when pretty much when it comes to capitalism, they're gonna do whatever they can to pretty much the dollar signs pretty much is on their mind, right? They're gonna do whatever they can pretty much to get it and how they get it, by any means necessary. If it's basically to swindle consumers and through deceptive business practices, then so be it or whatever. Basically by just general normal people who pretty much don't know any aspects of the business or how certain marketing or tactics pretty much work, then it'll go over their head. And especially with young kids or youth, when it comes to video gaming, and when it comes to microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff like that, it's pretty much not a big deal. But when it comes to seasoned gamers who pretty much knows the ins and outs of the business, and pretty much you got the favorite YouTubers to basically that on top of it too as well. We pretty much keep an open eye on certain stuff like that, where we know that certain companies trying to take advantage of us, and try to BS us when it comes to their product or whatever. And like I said, I got commend the Dreamcast guy pretty much calling that stuff out. Even though he said a lot of people might be mad or whatever, but it's I don't care. It's at the end of the day and everything. It's all about being true and looking out for the people and stuff. So it's if it's not through Ed Boon, and it's pretty much any other company or anything. Look at pretty much Activision, look at Overwatch. It is what it is.
I will say this, and we can wrap it up from here. If there's one thing I would say about Overwatch, say what you want about Overwatch, and the whole loot box fiasco with Overwatch, there really is no loot box fiasco, and the fact that you can earn, the fact that they give you they're pretty lenient with giving you loot boxes and stuff where you don't really have to pay for it unless you're trying to get that one type of skin before an event leaves, then that's fine. But they're really lenient when it comes to loot boxes. Again, I can't speak for Mortal Kombat 11 because I have not actually got my hands on it and gotten an in-depth look at it. So for me personally, I'm gonna wait until I get it next week, and I'll make a final judgment call about it after I get everything situated. So that's pretty much it. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys very much. This is episode 71 of the ScrubClub Gaming Podcast. Bouken Kabuto, since you were here first, I'm gonna let you take the floor. What's your closing statement? Go ahead.
My closing statement. Mental health is no laughing issue, and you should seek help with that, and it's not always immediately noticeable. Just know that people love you. I love you, and I care about you. Just stay safe.
Alright, then. GC, what's your closing statement for episode 71? Go.
Love you all.
Alright, then. And my closing statement is, like I said, people, Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't give a damn if they fix what that nigga looks like. You can't...
the movie's gonna suck.
You can polish a turd all you want. It's still a turd at the end of the day.
And you can spray Febreze on the turd. It's still gonna smell like turd.
Pretty much. But I will say this, I will be waiting for my bottle of Johnny White Walker when I go see that movie with Jen and the rest of the homies. When that movie comes out in November. So, Bouken, make sure you buy me a bottle of Johnny White Walker.
I have that bottle of Johnny White Walker. That's the photo I sent you is from my kitchen.
I know, I can see. I can tell. Also, another quick thing. we're all. If you've been following me on Twitch, we're damn near almost done with Metal Gear Thursday. We're about to play Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake is next, and then Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, and then Metal Gear Rising. So very happy, and then we will be switching up to I don't know what else was next. I believe it was Resident Evil that was next, or Devil May Cry, the series. I don't remember. I gotta look on my notes.
Oh my god, I love Devil May Cry.
Yeah, so we will get to that, but I'm super excited to play Metal Gear again, Metal Gear Solid again, because man, this game's amazing. Anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you guys very much. Episode 71 Struggle Game Podcast is now officially in the books, and y'all know what to do. Email us at strugglegamebookies@gmail.com. That's strugglegamebookies@gmail.com. For any questions, comments, concerns, advice, business inquiries, let the business with you indie folks out there. If you have a video game or a movie you want us to review, let us know. We'll review it for you. Thank you very, very kindly. You can also find us on our Facebook and Twitter. Type Struggle Game. Bam! Struggle Game is all up in your home. Find us on our home base, soundcloud.com/ScrubClub. That's soundcloud.com/ScrubClub, where all previous episodes of the Scrub Game podcast, ScrubClub Cinema Present, Scrub Lounge, and ScrubClub Retrospective Reviews are officially up and up to date. You can also find us on our YouTube page, ScrubClub Gaming. Now, you want to get a hold of any of us, you want to run a keep time, find your boy, Reckless Fox on Twitter and Instagram at the Reckless_Fox. Find my YouTube page, Reckless_Fox, and find all my latest game content on twitch.tv/RecklessFox. If I'm not holding down the South Tower region, flexing East Howard style, GC, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Mr. Godchild15. You can find me on Twitch, Godchild15, and Twitter and Instagram at Godchild_15.
And Bouken Kabuto, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Bouken Kabuto, and you can find me on Instagram at chrono_justice_cosplay. And you can also find me here at the Scrub Club Nation, where I'll be hanging out with my good old friend Reckless Fox. Take it away.
No, don't. Back to you. I'm joking. But yes, guys, we are officially done. This is episode 71 of Scrub Game Podcast. And as we always say, peace out, bless up, and keep our record things $20 or less. And we bid you all adieu, goodbye, and good night. Bang! Deuces!